Ignorance is colorless. Bronny James' girlfriend's father applauds Alexis Ohanian's fearless clapback at Stephen A. Smith's marriage jab. The sports and pop culture world has been buzzing ever since Stephen A. Smith made comments about Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams' marriage, a remark that instantly drew heavy criticism online. But now, the story has taken a new turn, as Bronny James' girlfriend's father has stepped into the conversation, commending Ohanian for how he handled the entire situation. His response, "Ignorance is colorless," has gone viral, earning praise for its wisdom, restraint, and clarity in a moment that could have easily spiraled into chaos. Let's rewind a bit and break down how this all started. Stephen A. Smith, known for his bold takes on ESPN and beyond, made a controversial remark that seemed to question Alexis Ohanian's role as Serena Williams' husband. Smith's comments, made during one of his usual fiery segments, came off to many as dismissive, a casual dig that struck a nerve with fans of the tennis legend and her entrepreneur husband. What followed was a storm of criticism from both sides of the aisle, with some defending Smith's freedom to express his opinion and others calling it an unnecessary personal jab. But Alexis Ohanian didn't stay silent. Instead of going on a lengthy rant or trading insults, he crafted a sharp, fearless clapback that immediately turned the tide of public opinion. His response, shared on social media, was measured but firm, a reminder that he's more than capable of defending his wife and family without stooping to negativity. Ohanian reminded the world that he's built a life defined by love, partnership, and respect, not the public approval of commentators. Fans quickly rallied behind him, applauding his composure and classy defense of his marriage. That's where Bronny James' girlfriend's father enters the picture. When asked about the situation during a recent podcast appearance, he offered his perspective on the ongoing debate, and his words struck a chord with thousands online. "Ignorance is colorless," he said, referring to the tendency of people, regardless of race or background, to speak on matters they don't fully understand. It was a statement that resonated not just as a response to Smith's comments, but as a broader commentary on how public figures often cross the line between analysis and personal judgment. This father, who's known for keeping a relatively low profile despite his family's growing spotlight, continued by praising Ohanian's demeanor. "You can tell the man knows who he is," he said. "He didn't let someone else's words define him or his relationship. That's power, real power. You can't teach that." The comment has since been shared widely across social media platforms, with fans admiring his maturity and perspective on a controversy that had initially been fueled by outrage. What's most interesting is how this conversation bridges two very different but interconnected worlds, the sports universe and the social commentary sphere. On one hand, Stephen A. Smith has built a career out of being loud, opinionated, and unfiltered. On the other, Alexis Ohanian represents a modern, composed approach to handling criticism, especially when it involves family. And now, with Bronny James' girlfriend's father weighing in, the discussion has added another layer of depth, one that challenges how society views public disagreements and the ethics of commentary. Ohanian's response wasn't just about defending himself or Serena Williams. It was also about setting a standard, a model for how to respond to criticism with grace and intelligence rather than hostility. His decision to rise above pettiness rather than engage in it reflected a confidence rooted in personal peace, something many public figures struggle to maintain. It also showcased the importance of knowing when to speak up and when to let dignity do the talking. Meanwhile, the phrase "ignorance is colorless" has taken on a life of its own. It's being quoted, memed, and discussed as a universal truth. People have interpreted it in many ways, some seeing it as a statement about race and understanding, others as a reminder that foolishness and prejudice don't discriminate. Regardless of interpretation, the quote hit home because it cut through the noise. It wasn't about taking sides, it was about recognizing that ignorance exists everywhere, and the only way to combat it is with knowledge, empathy, and composure. Social media reactions have been overwhelmingly supportive. Fans have praised both Ohanian and Bronny's girlfriend's father for their restraint and wisdom, saying their words contrast sharply with the kind of reactive culture dominating online spaces today. "Finally, someone said it like an adult," one fan wrote on X. Another commented, "This is the kind of response that earns respect, not retweets." Even a few celebrities chimed in, calling the entire exchange a masterclass in emotional intelligence. Stephen A. Smith, for his part, has yet to offer a direct apology, though he did attempt to clarify his remarks on his own show. He insisted that he meant no disrespect to Serena or Alexis, claiming his comments were taken out of context. But by that point, the damage had been done, and Ohanian's clapback had already solidified the narrative. For Bronny James' circle, this situation is particularly relevant. The young basketball star, son of NBA legend LeBron James, has been navigating public life under massive spotlight. The people around him, including his girlfriend and her family, understand better than most how public perception can twist a story. That's why this father's comment carried extra weight. It wasn't just about defending Ohanian, it was also about setting an example for how to handle criticism in an era where every move is dissected online. By saying ignorance is colorless, he reminded everyone that character isn't defined by race, wealth, or fame, it's defined by how you respond to adversity. Whether you're an NBA rookie, a tech founder, or a sports commentator, your words matter. And when those words cross a line, they reveal more about you than the person you're criticizing. As the story continues to circulate, one thing is clear, this wasn't just another celebrity drama. It became a moment of reflection, about respect, boundaries, and emotional maturity. Ohanian's response, paired with the father's wise commentary, offered a refreshing contrast to the usual chaos of online discourse. In the end, what started as a careless comment turned into a meaningful conversation about grace under fire. Ignorance is colorless isn't just a viral quote, it's a timeless truth. It reminds us that while ignorance knows no color, neither does dignity. And in a world where outrage often overshadows understanding, that's a message worth repeating.